You close your eyes and feel yourself lifted beyond the familiar horizon, carried into a quiet expanse where darkness is not empty but full of gentle light. The stars hang like distant lanterns, each one humming softly in the language of time itself. You breathe slowly, imagining the pulse of the universe syncing with your own heartbeat, as if your body has learned a secret rhythm only the cosmos can teach. Here, there is no rush, no noise, only the slow, endless unfolding of space around you. The night stretches on in soft waves, and you feel weightless, floating through a sea of infinite possibilities. Each thought drifts like a tiny asteroid, each memory a small moon revolving around your mind. You sense that this space is not cold or empty, it carries the warmth of ancient creation, of elements forged in stellar furnaces billions of years ago, now quietly traveling through the void. You notice how time here feels different, more fluid, more patient. One heartbeat might be 1,000 years, yet it is also a single, gentle exhale. You notice small, dark shapes drifting in the distance, some glittering faintly with metallic veins that catch the light of distant suns. These are the asteroids, ancient travelers that have drifted through the solar system since the earliest moments of your planetary home's formation. You imagine their surfaces, cratered and scarred by collisions long forgotten, carrying stories in the folds of their rocky skin. They hold secrets of chemistry, the whispers of primordial clouds of dust and gas that coalesced into worlds and stones. You float closer, sensing the silent poetry in their irregular shapes, the quiet elegance of their paths through space. Each asteroid has its own personality, a subtle dance in the endless night. Some spin lazily, tumbling like dancers lost in meditation. Others glide in straight, unhurried lines, confident and deliberate, as if they know the geometry of the cosmos better than any map could reveal. You follow them with your mind's eye, feeling the gentle tug of gravity that shapes their motion, guiding them along invisible highways carved by celestial forces. There is a delicate harmony here, a balance of chaos and order, and you realize how small disturbances ripple across the vast emptiness like the softest waves on a still lake. In the distance, you see hints of metals glimmering beneath the rocky exteriors: iron, nickel, and perhaps traces of platinum, shining faintly in the starlight. You imagine reaching out, your hand passing through the void, connecting to these elements that have traveled millions, even billions, of kilometers to reach this moment. Each one tells a story, of creation in supernovae, of slow cooling in the coldness of space, of patient waiting in orbits shaped by the gravity of unseen giants. You sense the quiet rhythm of the universe and the steady pulse of these wandering stones. Your mind wanders further, contemplating the stillness. Space carries no sound as we know it, yet there is a resonance, a vibration that can be felt in thought rather than ear. It is in the regularity of orbits, the pattern of collisions, the gentle gravitational nudges that change paths imperceptibly over eons. You imagine these asteroids whispering softly to each other, exchanging stories through the language of motion and time. You feel connected to this cosmic conversation, a quiet observer whose presence does not disturb but rather honors the gentle rhythms unfolding around you. You drift among clusters of smaller rocks, feeling as though you are navigating a river of ancient stones. Each fragment holds a memory of the solar system's youth, of dust that once swirled around a newborn sun, of collisions that shaped planets, moons, and everything in between. You imagine the molecules locked inside these rocks, frozen snapshots of chemistry, waiting patiently to reveal their secrets to whoever might encounter them. There is a meditative joy in knowing that these fragments, so distant and indifferent to your presence, can still evoke wonder and contemplation. Your thoughts linger on the idea of discovery. Not all treasures are gold or platinum, some are knowledge, insight, or the quiet realization that the universe is vast, patient, and surprisingly intimate when approached with care. You feel a sense of reverence for these small wanderers, recognizing that their journey is not just physical but symbolic of curiosity itself, of seeking without urgency, of exploring without grasping. You float with them, your mind tracing invisible paths, noting how their slow arcs mirror the slow unfolding of understanding in your own life. You notice the interplay of light and shadow on the surfaces of these celestial travelers, subtle and ever-changing. Craters appear like gentle indentations on a cosmic canvas, catching the glow of distant suns in ways that make each rock feel alive. There is beauty in imperfection here, in jagged edges, in uneven surfaces, in textures that carry the memory of countless impacts. You imagine the story behind each mark, the slow accumulation of time and chance, and you feel a soft gratitude for the patience of the cosmos, and your own ability to witness it. As you float, you begin to sense a gentle invitation, the thought that these rocks are more than mere stones. They carry resources that could one day help civilizations grow, metals that might shape technologies or even economies far from Earth. Yet, in this moment, there is no urgency, only contemplation. You breathe in the calm, letting the potential of these cosmic treasures mingle with your sense of wonder. There is a rhythm to this reflection, slow and unhurried, like waves lapping at a silent shore in the night of space. You linger a little longer in this quiet, floating among the asteroids, feeling the serenity of distance and time. Your mind is weightless, your thoughts echoing softly in the dark. The treasures hidden within these wandering stones are patient, they do not demand your attention, yet their presence invites curiosity. You feel ready to follow their journey further, to learn how these small wanderers carry stories of matter, energy, and possibility, slowly shaping the future even as they drift silently in the cosmic sea. And as you begin to trace the paths of individual asteroids, feeling the subtle metallic glimmer beneath the rock, you sense a deeper question forming. What secrets do these wandering travelers hold, and how might they reshape not only distant economies, but the very understanding of our place among the stars? You follow the slow, deliberate paths of asteroids as they glide through the void, each one a relic of ancient cosmic events. Imagine them as travelers on invisible highways, their motion a quiet ballet shaped by gravity and chance. They have drifted for billions of years, untouched and unhurried, carrying within them the memory of stars that lived and died long before Earth existed. You feel a gentle awe, sensing the weight of time and the patience embedded in every orbit. Their surfaces tell a story if you look closely, observing the textures etched into rock and metal. Craters of varying sizes mark the quiet violence of collisions that occurred eons ago. Each indentation is a subtle reminder of the forces that shaped the solar system, a record written not in words but in form and material. You imagine the impact of a small fragment colliding softly with a larger rock, the gentle redistribution of dust and metal across surfaces. Even in their violence, there is a rhythm, a slow dance of creation and transformation that has endured for longer than your mind can measure. As you drift closer, the faint glimmer of metals catches your attention. Iron veins stretch across surfaces like silver rivers frozen in time. Nickel shimmers under the faint glow of distant sunlight, a muted sparkle among the rocky expanse. Some fragments hold platinum, rare and precious, reflecting light in ways that feel almost like whispered secrets. You reach out with your imagination and let your fingertips brush the edges of these metals, feeling their density, their cool resilience, and the long journey they have endured to arrive here. You sense that these small rocks, often overlooked in the vastness of space, contain enormous potential. They are not just inert debris, they are repositories of chemistry and history, carefully storing elements forged in the hearts of long-dead stars. You imagine the elements themselves, born of nuclear reactions and cosmic furnaces, slowly combining over time to form the substances that now gleam faintly beneath the rock surfaces. There is a quiet poetry in their patience, a story that stretches from the violent energy of stellar explosions to the calm of the drifting asteroid belt. Your thoughts wander to the earliest moments of the solar system. Clouds of dust and gas condensed into tiny pebbles, which clumped into larger rocks, forming the first asteroids. These fragments were tossed and turned by gravity, their paths nudged by planets forming nearby, their composition altered by subtle collisions and the relentless passage of time. You imagine floating among these particles, tiny observers of creation, feeling the gentle sway of their orbits, and understanding how even small rocks carry echoes of processes that shaped entire worlds. Some asteroids, you realize, are differentiated. They have layers, cores, and mantles, just like planets, though smaller and more delicate. You imagine peeling back these layers with your mind, discovering dense metallic cores hidden beneath rocky exteriors. These cores might contain vast reserves of metals, each one a concentrated memory of cosmic formation. You feel the excitement not as urgency, but as a soft curiosity, a quiet invitation to learn more about the hidden structures that lie beyond your immediate perception. The surfaces are not uniform. You notice ridges, cracks, and patterns shaped by microcollisions and solar radiation over millions of years. Some rocks appear almost polished, smoothed by tiny impacts, while others are jagged and sharp, holding angles that catch stray photons in unexpected ways. Each surface is a unique fingerprint, a testament to the asteroid's journey and resilience. You imagine tracing these patterns with your mind, letting each line and curve guide you through the asteroid's history as you drift quietly through the void. You start to feel a connection between the distant wanderers and human curiosity. Each asteroid holds potential resources that could be harvested for the benefit of civilizations on Earth or beyond. Metals like platinum, iridium, and gold are rare on our planet, yet plentiful in certain asteroid types. You do not rush to take them, instead, you simply imagine the possibility, letting your thoughts wander among the richness of these small stones. You feel the gentle excitement of discovery, the soft anticipation of knowledge waiting to be understood. There is a subtle interplay of science and imagination here. You think of spectroscopy, the method by which humans can detect the composition of these rocks from millions of kilometers away, by analyzing the light they reflect. Imagine a telescope catching the faint spectral signature of iron or nickel, and translating it into knowledge. You sense the elegance of this process, the way invisible light can reveal the invisible story inside a rock, connecting your mind to the distant cosmos without moving from your quiet place of meditation. You also sense the fragility of these wanderers. Some are loosely bound rubble piles, held together only by their own weak gravity. Others are monolithic, dense, and steadfast, yet all of them are subject to the subtle nudges of planets, the slow pull of solar tides, and the occasional collision with smaller objects. You imagine watching one such asteroid tumble gently, its internal composition untouched but constantly evolving, a quiet reminder of how even the most stable objects in space are part of a living, moving system. In your mind, you trace their long journeys from the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, or even from the distant reaches of the Kuiper Belt. Some will eventually drift closer to Earth, their paths intersecting with ours in ways that could be important, both for understanding potential resources and for planetary defense. You imagine the quiet anticipation of scientists tracking these rocks, calculating their orbits with patient care, knowing that every movement, every spin, every rotation carries information about the history and composition of the solar system. You feel the asteroid's hidden riches as something more than material. They are stories, time capsules, fragments of cosmic memory. Each glimmer of metal, each jagged crater, each smooth surface, is a narrative written in the language of atoms and gravity, waiting to be read by those who look closely and with care. You float among them, letting your mind explore their textures, their orbits, their possibilities, feeling the calm pulse of curiosity that links you to these silent travelers. And as you drift a little further, a gentle thought arises: these wandering rocks are more than physical objects, they are a bridge between worlds, a quiet invitation to understand the composition, history, and potential of the universe itself, whispering softly that the next step is to listen to the language of the metals they carry. You drift deeper into the quiet expanse, following the asteroids you glimpsed earlier, and begin to notice something subtle: the whisper of metals within the rocks. You cannot hear them as sound, for space carries no air, no vibration in the way you are used to. Instead, you sense their presence through thought, through imagination, through the gentle intuition that matter itself has a story to tell. Iron, nickel, platinum, each element hums softly, a unique note in the symphony of the cosmos, an ancient echo from the hearts of long-dead stars. Imagine iron first, born in the furnace of a supernova, a star exploding in a final blaze of glory. You feel its weight, not in your hand, but in your mind, a dense, grounding presence that anchors the story of planets and asteroids alike. Iron speaks of strength, of the building blocks of worlds, of the way matter gathers and cools over eons to form cores, crusts, and the skeletal frame of planets. It is patient, deliberate, persistent, a quiet force shaping the very foundations beneath your feet on Earth and in the drifting rocks around you. Nickel follows in subtle accompaniment, less dense, lighter, but shimmering with potential. Its rhythm is slightly faster, a delicate pulse that complements iron's steadfastness. Nickel has traveled vast distances, forged alongside iron, forming alloys and binding with other elements, preparing to play its role in machinery, spacecraft, and tools that humans will one day use to reach the stars. You imagine its path through time, drifting slowly from supernova debris to the asteroid surfaces you observe now, a silent traveler carrying both history and possibility. Platinum, rare and luminous, catches your attention next. Its glimmer is soft, almost shy, yet undeniable, like a small secret the universe has tucked carefully into a rock's core. You sense its scarcity and value, not in monetary terms, but in the story it tells of stellar chemistry and cosmic patience. Platinum's journey is long and deliberate, shaped by conditions that allow it to condense where few other elements can. In this moment, you imagine holding it, feeling a cool, steady weight that speaks of time, stability, and the careful balance that makes the universe capable of producing something so precious. As you float among these metals, you begin to understand that they speak a language written in atoms and bonds, in crystal lattices and isotopes. Their grammar is subtle, a structure that determines how they interact with other elements, how they conduct energy, how they endure pressure and heat. Imagine observing a tiny crystal lattice of nickel-iron alloy, each atom in place, vibrating softly in response to distant energy, performing a dance billions of years in the making. This is their poetry, hidden in plain sight, a story that connects the distant explosions of stars to the hands of engineers and explorers on Earth. You feel your mind expanding gently to accommodate this story. Metals are not merely objects, they are narrators of cosmic history, carriers of energy and memory. The iron in your blood shares a lineage with the iron in asteroids, which in turn came from stars. Platinum in electronics mirrors platinum in asteroid cores. Every piece of matter around you, from your fingertips to the distant rocks in space, has been forged and reshaped in a slow, deliberate process that stretches across billions of years. Let yourself rest in the thought that you are, in a sense, connected to all of this, a quiet witness to the ongoing story of matter. You notice how each metal responds differently to light. Iron reflects dimly, absorbing much of the sunlight that touches it, while platinum gleams with soft flashes, throwing whispers of starlight back into space. Nickel sits somewhere in between, a muted shimmer. You allow your imagination to trace these reflections, following them along cracks, ridges, and veins in the asteroid surfaces. Each glint feels like a syllable in the quiet conversation these metals are having, a rhythm you can almost follow if you slow your thoughts enough to match their pace. Imagine for a moment holding a sample of these metals, letting your hands feel the textures, the weight, the subtle differences. Iron is sturdy, grounding, solid. Nickel is smooth, versatile, adaptable. Platinum is rare, precious, cool and steady. You can almost feel the story of each atom, the stellar explosions, the slow cooling, the collision that embedded it into a drifting asteroid, the millions of years it has rested there, waiting for someone to notice. In this meditation, you realize that science is not merely about facts, but about listening deeply to what matter itself has to say. You notice the interplay of metals with the rock around them. Some lie in veins like miniature rivers, following paths carved by ancient collisions and molten flows. Others are embedded more sporadically, scattered like stars in a night sky of stone. You imagine tracing these paths, allowing your mind to move along the curves, feeling the flow of energy, and sensing the potential held within each fragment. Even in stillness, there is a quiet narrative of formation, erosion, and persistence, a story of endurance in the vast expanse of space. Beyond the surface, you sense that these metals are more than static objects, they are potential tools, carriers of energy and utility for civilizations far from Earth. Their properties, conductivity, durability, rarity, are like notes in a cosmic symphony, waiting to be played in the hands of those who reach for them. You do not need to act, only to imagine, allowing the quiet meditation to merge curiosity with awe. You see how the science of metallurgy, the art of understanding how metals behave and interact, begins not in laboratories, but in the patient observation of the universe itself. Your mind drifts to human understanding, to telescopes and spectrometers, to spacecraft analyzing light reflected from asteroid surfaces. You sense the subtle translation from observation to knowledge, from photons bouncing off metal-rich rocks to charts, maps, and predictions about composition. The metal's language becomes interpretable, yet it remains poetic, a rhythm of reflection, absorption, and resonance that can be felt as much as understood. You are a quiet listener, absorbing their story without interrupting it, tracing the narrative threads that stretch from stellar birth to technological application. As you linger, you realize that each metallic element carries with it a sense of time, space, and possibility. Iron is the weight of worlds, nickel the pulse of change, platinum the rare secret of patience. They are companions on your meditation, gently guiding your mind through the quiet vastness, teaching the lessons of endurance, rhythm, and harmony. The metals are not just materials, they are storytellers, narrating the epic history of matter, waiting for those who can listen with care. And as you let your thoughts rest on the metal's subtle language, a quiet curiosity arises. How might these silent narrators be gathered, studied, and transformed, without disturbing the delicate balance of the cosmic stage on which they have traveled for billions of years? You drift alongside the asteroids you observed, letting your mind settle into the slow, deliberate rhythm of the cosmos. There is a quiet presence now, one that blends with the hum of space itself. You imagine robotic harvesters, their movements precise and measured, gliding over surfaces of rock and metal like silent dancers. They do not stomp or scrape, instead, they float, extend, and retract, touching the asteroids as lightly as a thought brushing across the mind. These machines are designed not to conquer but to respect. Each arm, each sensor, each collector moves with an awareness of balance and care, ensuring the asteroid remains intact even as its resources are gathered. You imagine their movements as poetry in motion, a choreography of human ingenuity and cosmic patience. There is no hurry, no rush, only the gentle extraction of metals, guided by quiet algorithms that mirror the rhythm of the stars. As you observe, the surfaces of the asteroids shimmer faintly beneath the robotic touch. Iron and nickel, platinum and cobalt, all respond differently to the soft caress of mechanical harvesters. You feel the subtle differences. Some metals yield gently, almost reluctantly, while others release themselves easily, carried into tiny containers or magnetic fields designed to guide them without harm. You sense that this is not mere mining, it is a meditation in precision, a dialogue between human engineering and celestial endurance. The harvesters move with deliberate efficiency, aware of gravity so faint that a misstep could send them tumbling into the void. They drift from crater to vein, their sensors mapping surfaces in exquisite detail, ensuring that no rock is disturbed more than necessary. You imagine their lights tracing contours, their instruments measuring density, composition, and alignment, all in a slow, deliberate exploration that mirrors your own quiet meditation. There is elegance here, a harmony between machinery and the natural rhythm of the cosmos. You notice how carefully the harvesters avoid causing vibration. Each metal is coaxed, not forced, into its container. You sense the patience inherent in their work, a reminder that even in a universe dominated by vast forces, gentle care is possible, and sometimes more effective than brute power. You feel your own mind slow to match their pace, absorbing the lesson that quiet precision can achieve what clamor cannot. The energy that drives them is subtle, efficient, almost invisible. Solar panels unfurl like delicate wings, capturing sunlight and converting it into motion. Magnets guide metals into holding compartments with quiet authority. Lasers etch minuscule grooves without damaging the overall structure. You imagine each component working in concert, a ballet of technology, blending observation, action, and patience into one seamless performance. There is a soft music here, inaudible yet tangible, a rhythm of purpose and respect. As you drift among them, you realize these machines are extensions of human curiosity, designed not to dominate, but to learn and gather knowledge. They are the gentle hands reaching into space, ensuring that the treasures they find are collected without unnecessary disruption. You sense the elegance in this balance. Humans may touch the cosmos, yet the cosmos retains its quiet dignity, its history etched into surfaces older than any memory you carry. You notice the way asteroids respond differently to each approach. Some are dense and compact, requiring steady coaxing, others are loose rubble piles, shifting beneath robotic touch. The harvesters adjust automatically, sensing the structure beneath their feet or, more accurately, beneath their tiny thrusters. You imagine the intelligence embedded in them, algorithms attuned to subtle changes, always observing, always adapting. There is poetry in this quiet responsiveness, a reflection of life itself, patient and observant. You sense the minimal footprint left behind. Dust stirred by a gentle collector drifts slowly into the void, settling in silence. Craters remain undisturbed except where metals have been gathered with care. Even in extraction, there is reverence. You feel your own thoughts aligning with this rhythm, a respect for process, an understanding that presence need not equal disturbance, and that patience is often the greatest gift given to both observer and observed. Imagine following a single vein of platinum, traced delicately by sensors and harvesters. You drift alongside it, noticing the tiny shifts, the faint glimmers of metallic light, and the way it curves through the rock. There is no rush, each moment is savored, each action deliberate. You realize that this mirrors your own meditation, following a line, observing, tracing patterns without pressing, without forcing, simply allowing the path to unfold naturally before you. The scene reminds you that exploration can be gentle. The vastness of space does not demand violence or haste. Knowledge, resources, and connection can be obtained with care, and in doing so, the integrity of the universe remains intact. You feel a soft kinship with these robotic harvesters, instruments of curiosity and respect, and allow your imagination to dwell in this harmony, appreciating the balance between action and stillness. Even the smallest movements leave traces of intention. Sensors measure each fragment collected, recording its composition, mass, and location. Data flows quietly, invisible to the eye, yet forming the foundation of understanding. You imagine this information guiding future missions, shaping decisions with subtle wisdom. You sense that knowledge itself is a form of gentle harvesting, a silent conversation between human curiosity and the patient universe. And as you float among these machines, observing the careful extraction of metals without marring the asteroid's ancient surfaces, a reflective thought arises. What would it mean for humanity to reach beyond the familiar, not as conquerors, but as careful stewards, extending both curiosity and respect into the quiet expanses of space? You drift slowly, imagining the journey of metals from asteroid to human hands. There is a rhythm here, a quiet pulse linking distant rocks to the familiar world below. Even in space, value exists not in numbers on a screen, but as a story, a gentle narrative of scarcity, abundance, and possibility. You sense the delicate dance of supply and demand, stretching across millions of kilometers, connecting the silent orbits of wandering rocks to human imagination and ambition. Iron, nickel, platinum each carries a tale of rarity and utility. You imagine a world where the abundance of a metal in a single asteroid could ripple softly through human industry. Platinum might flow more freely, changing the rhythm of technological development. Nickel could become a steady companion for machinery and spacecraft. Iron, once taken for granted, gains a new narrative as humanity reaches further into the stars. You feel the pulse of potential, measured not in urgency, but in thoughtful, deliberate reflection. You imagine markets as gentle currents, flowing like invisible rivers of trust, trade, and expectation. They respond to scarcity as naturally as water flows downhill, shifting gradually, adjusting to new information, new discoveries, new fragments of metal drifting from the asteroid belt. You sense that the universe itself, patient and unhurried, allows these flows to emerge, guiding them subtly, without haste or coercion. There is a poetry in this rhythm, a quiet balance between human desire and cosmic abundance. You notice how rarity shapes attention. Some elements are precious because they are uncommon, others because they are essential to the technologies that define civilization. Platinum, for instance, whispers its value softly, not just because it is scarce, but because it enables processes that sustain life, fuel energy, and extend reach beyond Earth. You imagine the gentle negotiation between supply and need, a slow conversation that unfolds across markets, laboratories, and workshops, guided by curiosity and the soft wisdom of scarcity. In your mind, you trace a single asteroid as it drifts toward the inner solar system. Sensors and harvesters collect metals with care, and spacecraft transport them slowly, deliberately, to processing stations far below. You sense the web of connections, from the asteroid's orbit to human ingenuity, from raw material to refined product, from quiet cosmic patience to the pulse of earthly commerce. Each step flows naturally, as if the universe itself had designed a rhythm for these exchanges, a cadence that requires mindfulness to perceive. You reflect on how economics in space is more than mere currency. It is a story of resources, human ambition, and timing. Metals traveling through the void carry both physical substance and symbolic weight, marking the boundary between potential and realization. You feel the gentle sway of these ideas, understanding that every fragment of matter gathered from asteroids could influence not just industry, but the way civilizations imagine themselves, their possibilities, and their connection to the cosmos. Imagine a world where the first shipments of asteroid metals arrive on Earth. The economy adjusts slowly, like a pond responding to the ripple of a single dropped stone. Industries shift, technologies accelerate, scientists and engineers discover new pathways to innovation. Yet the change is not sudden or jarring. It is deliberate, a rhythm that matches the quiet unfolding of understanding you have felt throughout this journey. You sense that patience is key both in space exploration and in the gentle evolution of value across human communities. You feel the interplay of distance and risk. Transporting metals from asteroids is not instantaneous, it requires careful planning, energy, and time. You sense that these constraints themselves are a form of balance, ensuring that value is considered thoughtfully, rather than taken for granted. The economy of the stars is not a whirlwind, but a slow, careful meditation, a soft reflection of the universe's own measured pace. You drift in this understanding, allowing your mind to absorb the gentle wisdom embedded in cosmic logistics. You consider scarcity in a new light. Some asteroids contain rich veins of precious metals, others hold more common elements. The differences matter not only for practical uses, but for imagination, for the way humans conceptualize wealth and possibility. You feel the subtle energy of awareness, a quiet recognition that abundance and rarity are not fixed, but exist in dialogue with human attention, curiosity, and the patience of the cosmos. Even the smallest fragment carries a lesson in balance, inviting reflection rather than haste. Markets are not merely financial, they are narrative. You imagine each exchange as a soft conversation between past, present, and future, linking the patient journey of metals across space to human goals and dreams. You sense the gentle weight of potential, a story of value that extends beyond currency, shaping research, exploration, and the way civilizations imagine their place among the stars. You feel a calm satisfaction in this understanding, as if the universe itself is guiding the conversation gently, allowing every voice, every fragment, to find its place in the quiet symphony. And yet, there is more than economics alone. The metals you observe, the asteroids you follow, and the human curiosity that reaches for them are all intertwined. You sense that these rocks carry not only matter but stories, potential, and quiet influence. The rhythm of trade and the patience of space coexist in harmony, creating a narrative that is both practical and poetic. You feel the subtle interconnection of all things, the asteroid drifting silently in orbit, the metals within it, the human hands that will one day touch them, and the ideas and dreams that will follow. As you linger in this quiet reflection, your mind begins to notice a new question forming: how, exactly, do humans transform these distant metals into useful forms, while maintaining the delicate balance of energy, matter, and patience? You sense that the next step is to understand the choreography, the careful processes that allow raw materials to become meaningful, not just in markets, but in the technologies and tools that connect worlds. You drift further into the quiet expanse, carrying with you the knowledge of metals, asteroids, and the gentle rhythms of cosmic economics. Now, your attention turns to the delicate art of extraction, the process by which raw elements hidden within these distant rocks can be transformed into useful resources. Imagine yourself floating beside the engineers and scientists, observing without haste, allowing the rhythm of understanding to unfold slowly around you. The first step is observation. You notice telescopes and spectrometers scanning asteroid surfaces, tracing the faint glimmer of metals beneath rock and dust. Light from distant suns bounces off the surfaces, carrying subtle signatures that reveal composition and density. You imagine these instruments not as cold machines, but as patient listeners, interpreting the quiet language of matter, converting photons into knowledge, telling a story older than any memory you hold. As you drift closer, you see robotic systems carefully maneuvering across asteroid surfaces, mapping each crevice, each vein, each ridge of metallic treasure. Lasers trace minute contours, measuring density and structure with precision that mirrors the patience of the universe itself. You feel the rhythm of these processes, slow and deliberate, a quiet dance between curiosity and care. There is no urgency here, only the gentle unfolding of understanding, a meditation in action. The extraction begins with separation. Metals are coaxed gently from rock through subtle techniques, as if encouraging them to reveal themselves. Magnets draw ferromagnetic materials, iron and nickel, into precise collection compartments. Lasers vaporize select layers, releasing particles that drift upward into collection fields. You imagine following these particles as they rise, sensing their weightlessness and freedom, yet guided carefully by invisible hands of energy and design. Each particle follows its path, not forced, but persuaded gently, as though the universe itself allows the transition to occur in harmony with its rules. Centrifuges spin quietly, separating particles by density and composition. You float alongside them, feeling the invisible forces acting on tiny fragments, guiding them into separate streams. This is not violence, it is a rhythm, a gentle persuasion, a dialogue between science and matter. You sense the balance required. Too much force could disrupt the asteroid's structure, too little and the process fails. There is an art here, a meditation in precision, as if each step honors the history of the metals themselves. Energy management is equally delicate. Solar panels unfold, catching the faint light of the distant sun, converting it into the slow, steady pulse that drives machinery. Lasers hum softly, magnets resonate quietly, and centrifuges spin with patient diligence. You imagine this energy as a gentle tide, flowing through the systems, never rushing, never chaotic, only present, guiding each step of extraction. The process is a meditation in itself, a calm choreography in the vast silence of space. You sense that patience is the essential ingredient. Extraction is not a matter of brute force, but of timing, observation, and careful adjustment. Machines respond to minute variations, algorithms adapt to changes in structure, and human oversight guides without interference. You feel the harmony between intention and observation, between curiosity and respect, as a soft pulse throughout your mind. This is science as a gentle rhythm, a conversation with matter, not a conquest. As metals are gathered, they are stored carefully in containers designed to maintain their integrity. You imagine the cool, dense mass of platinum, the sturdy presence of nickel, the grounding weight of iron, all preserved with mindful attention. Each element carries its story forward, now ready to continue its journey to processing, transport, and eventual application. You sense the continuity, the careful chain connecting the distant past of stellar formation to the present moment of human innovation. Throughout the process, you notice the subtle beauty of efficiency. Waste is minimized, every particle considered, every movement deliberate. There is a poetry here in the way human ingenuity mirrors natural processes, extracting what is needed while preserving the balance of the system. You feel the quiet lesson that knowledge and action, when harmonized, can achieve what force alone cannot, and that respect for the integrity of materials carries its own reward in understanding and insight. You observe how scientists plan for contingencies. Asteroids may be fragile, their surfaces shifting unexpectedly. Machines are prepared to pause, adjust, and resume with gentle care. You sense the tension that exists even in the calmest operations, a reminder that space, while patient, is not entirely forgiving. Each step is measured, considered, and backed by observation and foresight. You drift through these scenarios, imagining the soft adjustments, the patient corrections, the quiet vigilance that ensures every extraction is successful without harm. The choreography extends to human collaboration. Teams across Earth monitor data, adjusting algorithms, interpreting results, and guiding robotic actions. You feel the rhythm of this cooperation, a flow of thought and attention that mirrors the slow rotation of asteroids themselves. Knowledge travels across space and light, transmitted as data, interpreted by minds attuned to subtle variations. The universe is quiet, yet these exchanges bring a soft pulse of connection, linking humans to distant rocks in a delicate symphony of observation and action. You notice the role of innovation in this process. Engineers experiment with methods that reduce energy use, minimize disruption, and increase precision. Each innovation is a soft step forward, a gentle advance, not a leap that shatters rhythm. You sense the patience required to observe, to adjust, to repeat, to improve. The metals themselves seem to respond to this care, yielding gradually, willingly, as if acknowledging the respect inherent in the process. And as the metals are separated, guided, and collected, a thought arises in your mind: extraction is not merely about materials, but about understanding. Each particle carries the story of its formation, journey, and presence in the universe. By listening to it carefully, humans participate in a dialogue with matter itself, a meditation that spans space and time. You feel the quiet power of observation, patience, and gentle influence, sensing that these qualities will guide every further step in exploration. And so, as you float among lasers, magnets, and centrifuges, witnessing the careful choreography of extraction, you sense the fragile balance of effort, observation, and care. Each metal carries forward its story, each asteroid remains honored, and the human mind is quietly engaged in a dialogue that stretches across billions of years and millions of kilometers. You drift into the quiet expanses beyond the orbit of planets, where the hum of machinery and the pulse of human observation meet the vast uncertainty of the cosmos. Here, the beauty of exploration is paired with the gentle tension of risk. Asteroids, for all their silent grace, are not entirely predictable. Their orbits shift imperceptibly, nudged by distant planets, collisions, and the subtle tug of gravity across millions of kilometers. You feel this delicacy in your mind, a reminder that every movement in space carries a story of chance. Machines, for all their precision, are not immune. You imagine a harvester pausing mid-operation as sensors detect a shift in a fragment's alignment. The algorithm recalculates, subtle thrusters adjust, and a quiet balance is restored. You feel the tension dissolve into calm, yet remain aware that this delicate dance requires constant vigilance. Even in a universe that moves slowly, small mistakes can ripple across distances unimaginable, making attention and foresight essential companions in the journey. The risk is not only mechanical. Asteroids themselves can be fragile, some loosely bound rubble piles that shift unpredictably under pressure. You imagine a tiny tremor moving particles beneath robotic feet, a subtle avalanche of dust and stone that changes the surface landscape. Machines adapt gently, responding with careful adjustments, yet the awareness of fragility remains. You sense in your own mind the lesson of humility, that even the most precise human interventions must respect the quiet resilience and unpredictability of natural formations. You consider the broader patterns of the asteroid belt, where countless fragments drift silently in complex orbits. Even the slightest nudge from a planet or another asteroid can send a rock into a new path. You imagine scientists tracking these objects, calculating probabilities, predicting collisions, and adjusting missions with patience. There is a rhythm to their work, a quiet dance between anticipation and adaptation, mirroring the slow, subtle ballet performed by the asteroids themselves. Solar radiation adds another layer of influence. You feel its push on small fragments, gently altering their rotation and trajectory over long periods. It is invisible, almost imperceptible, yet its cumulative effect is profound. Machines and humans must account for this quiet force, adjusting strategies and planning carefully. You imagine drifting alongside a small asteroid, feeling the light's gentle pressure, sensing the immense patience required to navigate even the softest of forces in the cosmic environment. Collisions, though rare, are part of the cosmic ballet. You picture two small rocks meeting in the void, not with violence as we imagine on Earth, but with slow, deliberate energy exchanges, shifting their surfaces, redistributing dust, changing trajectories. You sense the lesson here: the universe is not chaotic, nor is it entirely predictable. There is beauty in its unpredictability, and wisdom lies in observing, respecting, and preparing for subtle variations. You feel your mind settling into the rhythm of uncertainty, learning to appreciate both the possibilities and the constraints. Communication delays introduce another form of risk. Signals from Earth travel at the speed of light, yet across millions of kilometers, even this is not instantaneous. Machines operate semi-autonomously, guided by algorithms, yet overseen by distant minds. You imagine the subtle tension of waiting, the anticipation of receiving data, the patience required to act on it. You sense that this delay is not a flaw, but a gentle teacher, reminding explorers to measure action against observation, to respect the cadence of space itself. Even the smallest material inconsistencies can pose challenges. A fragment of metal slightly denser than expected, a ridge that resists sensors, a particle that floats unexpectedly, these are the quiet lessons embedded in the extraction process. You imagine observing these deviations, not as threats, but as invitations to adapt. The rhythm of learning, adjustment, and careful experimentation flows as naturally as the orbit of asteroids, a slow meditation in skill and observation. You begin to feel the interconnectedness of risk, knowledge, and care. Every adjustment made to a machine or mission plan ripples outward, not just in the immediate environment, but across the network of human understanding. One carefully observed failure, one gentle correction, expands the collective ability to explore without harm. You sense the quiet satisfaction of learning, the soft reassurance that caution and patience amplify curiosity rather than diminish it. As you drift further, you sense the unpredictability of human intention as well. Decisions must balance efficiency, safety, and the quiet respect for the cosmos. Even the smallest choice, a trajectory adjustment, an extraction sequence, or resource allocation, carries implications across space and time. You feel the responsibility resting lightly in your mind, not as a burden, but as a gentle reminder of the care required when interacting with something older, larger, and more patient than yourself. The risks themselves are not menacing, they are subtle, woven into the fabric of exploration. You imagine an asteroid slowly spinning, a harvester gliding along its surface, and both responding to unseen forces with delicate precision. There is a tension here, yes, but it is a beautiful tension, a rhythm that requires mindfulness, attention, and grace. You feel your own breathing slow to match this pace, a soft alignment with the rhythm of the cosmos. You reflect on how these risks shape the mindset of those who venture into space. patience, humility, and observation become essential virtues. Each mission, each extraction, each careful maneuver teaches that success is not measured by haste or dominance, but by harmony with the natural rhythms of the environment. You sense that the quiet awareness of risk is, in itself, a kind of meditation, a gentle training of mind and imagination to perceive subtleties otherwise invisible. And as you drift among these silent, spinning rocks and careful machines, a gentle thought arises: exploration, however precise and respectful, always carries uncertainty. But it is in the acknowledgement of this uncertainty that human curiosity becomes both humble and profound. You feel a soft understanding settling in your mind, a quiet acceptance of imperfection, unpredictability, and the vast elegance of the cosmos. You drift gently through space, following the metals collected from distant asteroids as they begin their journey toward Earth. Imagine each fragment carefully secured, floating in containers aboard spacecraft that glide silently through the void. There is a calm precision to the voyage, a rhythm of navigation, energy management, and careful observation. Each movement is measured, deliberate, ensuring that the precious cargo reaches its destination intact. You feel the invisible threads connecting these distant rocks to human hands far below. Though separated by millions of kilometers, the metals are part of a quiet story that links the cosmos to everyday life. Iron, nickel, and platinum have traveled across space and time, carrying within them the memory of stellar furnaces, collisions, and cosmic patience. Their journey is more than physical; it is a connection between imagination, ambition, and the slow unfolding of human curiosity. Spacecraft drift along calculated trajectories, following arcs designed to conserve energy and avoid hazards. You imagine the subtle guidance of thrusters, the faint pulse of course corrections, and the careful monitoring by teams on Earth. Each adjustment is a gentle negotiation with gravity and momentum, a slow dialogue with forces far larger than any single machine. You sense the artistry in this movement, a quiet choreography of efficiency, respect, and precision. Upon arrival at orbital stations or Earth's vicinity, the metals enter the first stages of processing. Here, they are measured, catalogued, and prepared for eventual use. You feel the rhythm of these steps, each action slow and purposeful, like a meditation in order and care. Every sample carries its story, a record of the asteroid it came from, the path it traveled, and the techniques used to extract it. You sense that this record is not merely practical; it is a reminder of patience, intention, and the deep interconnection between space and human endeavor. Transportation from station to market is another quiet rhythm. Containers are loaded with meticulous attention, weighing, labeling, and securing each parcel. Logistics unfold like a gentle river, flowing through warehouses, laboratories, and factories, guided by invisible currents of planning and anticipation. You imagine following a single piece of platinum as it travels from orbit to a laboratory on Earth, feeling the care and precision at each stage, appreciating the slow, deliberate pulse of human management across vast distances. You sense that economics, logistics, and technology are intertwined with the metal's own story. Each fragment, though physically small, influences industries, innovations, and ideas. Imagine a tiny grain of platinum enabling new energy systems, or nickel facilitating durable machinery for space exploration. The metals are both material and metaphor, practical and poetic, tangible and symbolic. They embody the quiet rhythm of connection across planets, people, and time. Negotiation and valuation unfold in parallel. Supply, scarcity, and potential use are considered, not merely in numbers, but as narratives shaping industry and imagination. You sense the subtle movement of ideas, the quiet adjustments of plans, the measured consideration of risk and reward. Even monetary value is softened by the broader context, the awareness that these metals have traveled through time and space to arrive at human hands, carrying with them lessons of patience and curiosity. You notice the gentle integration of innovation in these processes. Scientists develop new methods for refining and applying metals, engineers design tools to utilize their properties, and businesses plan for sustainable deployment. Each step is careful, reflective, and deliberate. You imagine the soft humming of laboratories, the quiet thoughtfulness of engineers, and the steady pulse of calculation, all contributing to a slow, harmonious unfolding of purpose. The journey from asteroid to Earth is also a journey of understanding. Each fragment teaches a lesson about material properties, logistics, and human ingenuity. You drift alongside these lessons, sensing their subtle cadence, noticing how patience, observation, and care translate across the physical and conceptual distances separating space from Earth. Even as metals move into markets, their story continues to shape thinking, innovation, and imagination in a quiet, pervasive way. You feel the interwoven nature of connection. The metal in a spacecraft's component, a laboratory instrument, or a technological prototype carries a lineage stretching back to a stellar explosion billions of years ago. Its presence in human hands is a testament to observation, extraction, transport, and care. You imagine tracing these threads, seeing the delicate weave of interdependence, understanding that progress is measured not only in outcomes but in the rhythm of intentional, thoughtful steps that link cosmos and civilization. Even the mundane aspects, inventory, accounting, and distribution, take on a meditative quality. Each step is deliberate, ensuring that the metals retain their integrity, that human systems maintain harmony with the rhythm of supply, and that knowledge is preserved alongside matter. You sense that these logistical flows are as much about reflection and mindfulness as they are about efficiency or profit. They are quiet rivers connecting worlds, invisible yet tangible in their effect on civilization. And as you float among these thoughts, tracing the journey of metals from rock to wallet, you realize the profound poetry embedded in each step, the cosmic origin of materials, the delicate extraction, the careful transport, the integration into human endeavors. Each metal is a bridge, linking past and future, space and earth, observation and action. You feel a gentle sense of satisfaction, not in completion, but in understanding the flow, the rhythm, and the quiet care guiding each movement. A soft thought arises: the metals are now part of human society, yet they continue to carry their cosmic story, whispering lessons of patience, balance, and careful attention. Their journey has transformed both matter and mind, bridging the vast emptiness of space with the intimate spaces of human civilization. You drift softly among the quiet stars, carrying the metals harvested from distant asteroids and the knowledge of their journey to Earth. Amid the hum of space and the rhythm of human curiosity, a gentle question arises: what is the right way to act when holding power over worlds not your own? Ethics is not a weighty lecture here, but a soft reflection, a constellation of choices shimmering in your mind like distant points of light. Consider the balance between ambition and care. Human desire to explore, extract, and innovate must coexist with the fragile integrity of the cosmos. Each asteroid is a repository of history, matter shaped over billions of years. You sense the gravity of this legacy, not as a burden, but as a gentle reminder to move thoughtfully. Extraction is not merely a technical act, it is a dialogue with time, matter, and the silent patience of the universe. You imagine floating alongside the harvesters, observing their careful movements. Each precise extraction is guided by human choice: which metals to gather, which to leave, how to minimize disruption. You feel that ethical reflection is embedded in these decisions, whispering that the reach of technology must always consider the quiet presence of the world it touches. Even small adjustments, a pause, a reroute, a reconsideration, become acts of responsibility, honoring the long history and subtle patterns of celestial objects. The wealth contained in these rocks is immense, yet it carries with it invisible threads of consequence. Metals can transform societies, industries, and economies, shaping lives in ways both seen and unseen. You sense the delicate balance between benefit and harm, imagining each decision radiating outward, touching both human communities and the cosmos itself. Ethics, in this light, is not a distant abstraction, but an ever-present current guiding hands, minds, and hearts. You reflect on scarcity and abundance, not only in material terms, but in imagination and opportunity. How do humans distribute knowledge and resources equitably, while remaining mindful of the limitations and fragility of their sources. You sense that fairness is a subtle art, woven into the fabric of decision-making, shaping not only outcomes but the character of exploration itself. Ethical awareness flows quietly, like a river threading through the entire chain of observation, extraction, transport, and use. Conflict and competition are natural, yet you imagine them tempered by reflection and foresight. The allure of rare metals might tempt hasty action, yet the cosmos does not reward haste. You feel that ethics is, at its core, patience and mindfulness, recognizing that every choice carries weight beyond immediate gain, reaching into future generations, technologies, and even the quiet dignity of untouched celestial landscapes. You sense the interconnectedness of impact. One asteroid touched, one vein extracted, one shipment delivered, all ripple through human society and the cosmos. Decisions made in the quiet of mission control rooms, laboratories, and boardrooms carry consequences across space and time. You drift among these possibilities, noticing how awareness and intention shape every movement, every action, every outcome. There is a soft harmony in this consciousness, a way of honoring the vastness while acting within it responsibly. Preservation is another gentle thread. Not every asteroid must be harvested, not every fragment is necessary for progress. You imagine letting some rocks remain untouched, like quiet witnesses to the cosmos' long history. Ethical thought encourages restraint, reminding you that not all potential must be realized at once. There is beauty and patience in leaving parts of the universe in their pristine state, allowing future explorers and future generations to marvel at what still remains untouched. The human mind itself becomes part of this meditation. You notice how reflection, care, and ethical consideration shape not only outcomes but the character of those who explore. Choices become a mirror, revealing the values of curiosity, humility, and stewardship. You sense that morality is not separate from action, but inseparable from it, a quiet awareness that each movement, each decision, participates in a larger story of connection and respect. Imagination, too, is a compass. You drift through visions of civilizations where ethics guide space exploration, fair distribution of resources, thoughtful management of scarcity, careful observation, and minimal disturbance. You sense that ethical foresight allows human ambition to flourish without overshadowing the natural rhythms of the cosmos. The stars themselves seem to offer guidance, soft points of light reminding you of patience, foresight, and balance. You consider the voices of others, scientists, engineers, communities, future generations. Each carries perspective and insight, forming a constellation of ethical reflection that guides action. You feel that collaboration, discussion, and awareness are as vital as technology, teaching that responsibility is both personal and collective. Decisions are enriched by empathy, respect, and mindfulness, like gentle currents that guide a spacecraft along a delicate trajectory. Even profit and innovation are infused with meaning when tempered by ethics. Metals from asteroids can spark new technologies, improve lives, and expand human understanding, but only if guided by care. You sense that the most enduring successes are those harmonized with responsibility, patience, and reverence for the materials and environments involved. Wealth, in this sense, becomes more than numbers, it is knowledge, stewardship, and thoughtful connection. And as you float among these reflections, you sense a gentle tension. The cosmos offers opportunity, yet it requires humility. Every choice, every action, every extracted metal carries both promise and responsibility. Ethics is not a rigid law, but a soft, guiding light, illuminating the path forward while honoring the quiet majesty of the universe. You feel the rhythm of thought and action merge, like waves upon a calm cosmic shore. You drift gently into the quiet expanse of the future, where human ambition has extended beyond Earth and into the shimmering orbits of the solar system. Imagine the slow, deliberate hum of spacecraft and harvesters moving across countless asteroids, each carrying precious metals, each tracing its orbit in the cosmic ballet. The universe feels patient, waiting, allowing humanity to grow, adapt, and learn in harmony with its rhythms. Consider the industries that will emerge. Metal refined from distant rocks forms the backbone of advanced technologies, space stations, energy grids, propulsion systems, and tools yet to be imagined. Each innovation carries the gentle imprint of cosmic history, linking the birth of stars, the drift of asteroids, and the ingenuity of human hands. You sense the quiet pulse of these systems, a rhythm that is neither hurried nor forced, but flowing naturally from curiosity and intention. You feel the subtle influence of exploration on society. As materials circulate through orbiting processing hubs and earthbound industries, new markets emerge. Trade, technology, and collaboration expand, all guided by the slow, reflective rhythm of observation and patience. You imagine cities and laboratories humming softly, each innovation a small ripple in the cosmic web, every human action harmonized with the cadence of exploration. Education and knowledge spread quietly. Scientists and engineers study asteroid trajectories, metallurgy, robotics, and energy management. You sense the gentle layering of expertise, each generation building on the lessons of the previous, refining techniques, and expanding understanding. Learning is a soft, continuous current, flowing alongside the orbit of machines and the drift of metal fragments, connecting minds across space and time. Ethical reflection remains a guiding star. Decisions about which asteroids to harvest, how to distribute resources, and how to balance innovation with preservation are woven into the very fabric of exploration. You imagine societies where curiosity and care coexist, where economic opportunity is measured alongside responsibility, and where the long-term health of the cosmos is considered alongside human ambition. Each choice is a quiet meditation, shaping the destiny of both people and planets. You notice the elegance of technology in this future vision. Harvesters glide along surfaces, guided by advanced AI and human oversight, minimizing disruption while maximizing efficiency. Orbital refineries hum with energy, separating metals with a precision that mirrors the careful choreography of natural forces. Even the tiniest fragment of matter is handled thoughtfully, respecting its history and potential, as if every particle has a story to tell. The solar system itself becomes a tapestry of connection. Floating platforms, mining operations, and research stations shimmer in silent orbits, forming an intricate network. You drift along these trajectories, feeling the interconnectedness of people, machines, and asteroids. Supply chains become soft currents, technologies ripple outward, and knowledge flows gently across planets. The universe feels both vast and intimate, a place where human ingenuity and cosmic patience meet in quiet harmony. Consider the ripple effects on Earth. Technologies born in orbit find their way into daily life, shaping energy systems, transportation, medicine, and communication. Metals from asteroids strengthen infrastructure, enabling tools and devices that connect people across continents. You sense a slow, reflective pulse, linking the distant cosmos to familiar landscapes, reminding you that exploration is not just an outward journey, but also a shaping of life on home soil. You imagine new industries emerging in response to the opportunities presented by space metals. Manufacturing, energy production, propulsion, robotics, and scientific research all evolve in parallel, guided by the steady rhythm of resource availability and human curiosity. Each sector grows organically, with careful consideration for efficiency, ethics, and long-term sustainability. You feel the quiet beauty of this unfolding, a meditative symphony of innovation spanning both Earth and orbit. Collaboration across nations and cultures is woven naturally into this vision. Shared knowledge, joint missions, and cooperative research foster understanding and trust. You sense a gentle humility in these endeavors, as if humanity recognizes the vastness and patience of the cosmos and seeks to move in harmony with it. Ethical awareness continues to guide action, blending ambition with care, imagination with reflection, and exploration with respect. Innovation, too, is continuous but deliberate. Ideas are tested, refined, and integrated with care, ensuring that progress does not outpace understanding. You float among laboratories and workshops, observing softly glowing screens, mechanical arms, and spinning centrifuges. Each element is part of a slow choreography, echoing the rhythm of the asteroids themselves. The future emerges not as a rush, but as a gentle unfolding, deliberate and patient, yet full of possibility. You feel the poetry of orbiting machinery, each harvester and refinery moving with a quiet elegance across celestial paths. Metals shimmer in containers, catching distant sunlight, reminding you of their stellar origins. The cosmos seems aware, not indifferent, to these gentle intrusions, offering subtle guidance and constraints that shape the careful choreography of extraction, transport, and refinement. You sense that the universe and human endeavor can coexist beautifully when patience and awareness guide every step. As you linger in this vision, decades and centuries stretching outward, you notice a soft interweaving of human life and cosmic rhythm. Societies adapt to the presence of orbiting resources, industries mature, and curiosity flourishes. The future is not dominated by haste or conflict, but by careful observation, innovation, and ethical reflection. You sense the quiet satisfaction of balance, human ambition expanding, yet harmonized with the rhythms of space itself. And finally, as you float among these shimmering orbits, you feel the pulse of time itself. Knowledge, metals, technology, and ethics all flow together, forming a tapestry of human progress in dialogue with the cosmos. The shimmer of machines, the glow of metals, and the patient drift of asteroids become a lullaby, inviting your mind to rest while imagining the quiet majesty of futures unfolding in infinite space. You drift slowly toward the quiet evening of the solar system, as though the cosmos itself is exhaling after a long day of gentle motion. The harvesters, the orbiting platforms, and the containers of metals all seem to pause in a soft, reflective stillness. The stars overhead twinkle calmly, and the planets rotate silently, bathed in distant sunlight. Everything, from the smallest fragment of metal to the grand arcs of orbiting machines, rests in harmony, like a final sigh of the day. You feel the subtle rhythm of the cosmic market slowing, a gentle pulse echoing across space. Trade, extraction, and exploration have moved at their measured pace, guided by care, patience, and human ingenuity. You imagine each metal, each resource, finding its place in the quiet structures of civilization, connecting technology, imagination, and society in a continuous, almost invisible current. There is no rush, no urgency, only the calm awareness that everything has its time and its proper place. The lessons of extraction, risk, ethics, and future innovation linger softly in your mind. You see how every step, whether a careful laser separation, a cautious trajectory adjustment, or a deliberate ethical choice, has contributed to the peaceful settling of this moment. Each thread of action, thought, and observation weaves into a tapestry of quiet understanding. You feel yourself floating within this tapestry, part of a rhythm that stretches from distant stars to your own consciousness. You notice the stillness of the machines, the paused energy of processing stations, and the faint glimmer of metals resting in orbital containers. Even the smallest particles seem aware of the calm, their movements suspended in a slow, timeless rhythm. You feel gratitude for the patient choreography that has allowed human curiosity to meet the cosmos without disruption, creating harmony between exploration and preservation. The market itself seems more than economic, it is a living network of attention, care, and connection. Supply and demand, negotiation, and innovation all flow like a gentle river, connecting Earth, orbiting stations, and distant asteroids. You imagine following these currents, seeing the careful decisions and mindful management that guide resources and knowledge, not as numbers or commodities, but as living threads linking people, ideas, and materials across space. You reflect on the quiet intimacy of exploration. From the distant surface of a metallic asteroid to the hands of scientists and engineers on Earth, each step is a slow dialogue. You feel the subtle presence of choice, reflection, and observation, guiding each movement with respect. The cosmos, in its vast patience, mirrors your own calm awareness, inviting you to rest within the gentle rhythm of understanding. Even the intangible elements of curiosity and imagination settle softly in this nightfall. You sense the dream of possibilities, the whisper of ideas that have not yet been realized, and the quiet satisfaction of knowledge gained. The cosmic market becomes a lullaby, its transactions transformed into a rhythm of thought and reflection. Each story of a metal's journey, each lesson learned, contributes to this nocturnal meditation. You notice the stars above, their distant twinkle like lanterns marking the paths of asteroids and orbiting machines. Each light seems to pulse gently in time with your own breathing, echoing the quiet cycles of exploration and learning. You imagine that every piece of knowledge, every metal extracted, every decision made, resonates softly across these distances, a subtle chorus of effort, curiosity, and care harmonizing with the universe. Humanity's role, too, feels expansive yet intimate. Decisions, observations, and creations continue to ripple outward, yet the presence of mindfulness, ethics, and patience ensures that these ripples remain gentle, respectful, and purposeful. You sense that this is the true rhythm of progress, not the loud clamor of conquest, but the soft, enduring flow of thoughtful, deliberate action. The quiet pulse of civilization moves in tandem with the slow hum of the cosmos. And now, as the night settles fully, you allow yourself to rest within this harmony. Machines, metals, humans, and stars all suspended in a peaceful rhythm. You feel the calm satisfaction of understanding, the quiet joy of curiosity met with patience, and the gentle thrill of connection stretching across space and time. Every lesson learned, every ethical consideration, every careful step resonates within you like a soft bell, a lullaby that carries you towards sleep. You notice how the mind itself mirrors the stillness of the market. Thoughts drift slowly, like particles floating in the void, gentle and weightless. Each reflection on risk, ethics, extraction, and innovation becomes part of the tapestry of calm. You sense the continuity of exploration not as a task completed, but as a living story, extending across stars, minds, and generations. And finally, you let the day's journey settle fully into quiet awareness. The metals rest in their containers, the machines pause in orbit, the markets and trade settle into gentle equilibrium. The universe exhales, and you exhale with it, feeling both small and connected, rested and awake, aware of the vastness yet soothed by its quiet rhythm.